Baseball in the Boroughs is brought to you by Verizon. With my plan, get exactly what you want and only pay for what you need. The Mets head on up I-95 to Boston this weekend for their Subway Series with the Yankees. So let's talk some Mets baseball with the host of the Subway to Shea podcast, Anthony Rivera. Anthony, my man, thanks for hopping on first and foremost. Mets put together a couple wins before last night's loss. Let's talk about injuries first. The outfield's kind of banged up. Marte's on the IL, and Tommy Pham is listed as day-to-day. So who's the next man or who's the next men up?
I think we've seen that they're going to call up Mark Vientos, probably not to play the outfield. He'll probably play a little more of the infield, maybe first base, third base. That means maybe Brett Beatty will get some time in the outfield. Obviously, Mark Canha can go out there as well, and Jeff McNeil will probably get a lot of the time in the outfield as well. It's a tough situation for the Mets to deal with right now. They can't afford to have these injuries, especially to Tommy Pham, who has played lights out for the Mets all season. So losing him, although day-to-day, hopefully he is okay, not having to go on the IL, but losing Marte, who has struggled all season, hopefully he's okay and comes back healthier.
Speaking of struggling, my man Polar Bear Pete has been polar. He's been cold recently. So what is it? What's up with him? Why do you think he's in a slump right now?
I think it's still the wrist injury. A lot of people say that the struggle started before that. It's possible. It could be a combination of both. But that wrist injury, he came back a week afterwards. He was supposed to miss 3 to 4 weeks with that injury. He came back. He's been playing ever since. He went to the home run derby. So I don't know how much to count on that. And I even said on Twitter, even if his wrist is hurting and he's holding this team back with this injury, he's not really producing. The last 30 games, 140 batting average, 6 home runs, 17 RBIs. You can't get that from your middle of the lineup bopper, and he's just not helping this team produce. He's almost as if it's a detriment of having him on the team right now and having him in the lineup.
I'm going to try and use the word bopper today and just general casual conversation. Thank you. You learn something new every day. So let's talk trade deadline. We're less than 2 weeks away from it. So who do you think could be traded out of the borough?
I keep seeing Canha's name pop up over the last couple of days. There is even talk about Jose Quintana. They've been watching his starts even in rehab. I really don't know. The Mets are in a tough situation right now where they probably could stand pat. And it's unfortunate because the Mets could make a move to bring in a reliever or maybe a starting pitcher to help at the back end of the rotation. But if they're just meddling around here and not making any move, who do you really sell? Who does any of these other teams really want? And are the Mets going to get anything for them? They're really not going to get top prospects for Tommy Pham, for Canha, Quintana, even Robertson, who's probably their best asset. He probably won't get them much, and I'm probably in the minority that kind of wants to keep David Robertson here because, he could pitch in New York, and we need relief help. And trading him away means we see more Dominic Leone and Gotts of the world.
All eyes are on Billy Epler. Let's look ahead now. There's a lot riding on these next 3 games up against the Red Sox. What should we be paying attention to during the series?
I think it's important for the Mets to see how they bounce back from the end of the series and the loss to the White Sox. We saw the Mets get a 6-game winning streak before the All-Star break, and then they followed that up losing 4 games in a row. The Mets really need to make a move here if they want to stay in contention and try to make the final wild card spot. So they're going to have to win series. They're going to have to keep winning series. They got Senga, Scherzer, and Carrasco starting this weekend, and it's imperative for them to take at least 2 out of 3. And, we talked about Pete Alonso. Maybe it's time to give him a day off or 2. You got Vientos coming up. Maybe put him at first base and give a little bit of a rest to the Polar Bear.
Yes or no question. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do they make it to the postseason?
Ooh, man, so tough. Right now, it's just not looking like it because they haven't been consistent. I can't get on board if I haven't seen consistency. Like what we talked about earlier. Win 6 games, lose 4 games. It's just not consistent. Offense, not consistent. Pitching, not consistent. I can't be consistent saying that they're going to make the playoffs just at this moment.
Spoken like a true politician. That was a bopper answer. Thanks, Anthony, for joining us, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.